Ladies and gentlemen, today I have the pleasure to welcome Professor Amadou Sow. Professor Amadou Sow is originally from Mali, a country in West Africa, and he teaches at the School of Global and International Studies at the University of Bloomington, Indiana. Professor Sow, thank you very much for joining me on the Human Rights Tree.
My pleasure.
Today, I would like to discuss a little bit about your book, Political Leadership, um, Political Leadership, and the role teachers can play. But
hmm
before I go into the book, can you just tell me a little bit about you and your background?
Okay, so as you said, I am Amadou Beidy, so but everybody call me by my middle name. My people don't use my first name very much anyway, so everybody call me by Beatty. So that's how I go by Beatty. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I did my undergrad in Mali, and I did my grad studies here in America. But I did my undergrad in second language teaching. So, and after that, I worked in Mali for a couple of years before coming to America for my graduate studies. So I did international study for my master's, but my focus was on international relations. Yeah, mainly with the political side of of international studies. And then when I was doing that, I was interested in doing a PhD because my professor encouraged me. They say you cannot go back to Mali like this. You need to stay here and do a PhD. We don't want you to go like this. You need to do a PhD. I said okay. Then I'm interested in doing a PhD, but I'm really interested in the political science. But I see doing like when I was doing like my international studies, and we talk a lot about the development in Africa, development, and people were coming up with a lot of means and ways and different strategies how to get started development in Africa. I said, this is something interesting. But I say, okay, I want to be in the politics, but I'm seeing most of the time people come out with solutions, but I think those are not the solution. I think the solution can be only within the leadership. Because most of the time people say, oh, we need to educate or we need to educate the people from developing countries. So if we educate them, then they can start a development program in their country. I think, yeah, that's interesting. But we've been doing that for a long time, but things not moving forward and what's not working. And I said, the problem is that because we don't have the right person, which means the right leader to get started, something in Africa. If we're with the right leader will encourage education, and the educated people will take care of the development in Africa. I said, okay, then I know why I want to do a PhD, but in what? In leadership. And that was the reason why.
I see. For the
Uh-huh.
people who don't know Mali, would you
Uh-huh.
mind tell us a little bit about Mali history and geography?
Okay, so Mali, it's in the sub-Saharan Africa, and it's like in the desert part of Africa, in West Africa. And Mali is it's a very famous country, being play a very important role like in African history, civilization, education. When we talk about education, we cannot talk about the history of education without talking about Mali. But if you do that, you're not gonna give any credit to knowledge in this world because Timbuktu was the center of education. The first three universities we found in the world, first Timbuktu was one of them. So that means we cannot talk about the world today without talking about Africa, without talking about Mali. That's impossible. So and also, the great, I would say the wealthiest, the richest person that has ever existed. That Mansa Musa, he was one of the king from Mali. So then Mali has a very important role to play in the world. And also Malian culture is very rich, very diverse. So it's difficult really to talk about Africa not talking about Mali.
I see.
Uh
Um,
huh.
Following Mali history,
Uh huh.
we know that we in Mali we did witness a great empire like the empire of Mali, Umben's Songhai. We also through those empire, we know that Mali was under was a French colony called Sudan at certain moment, and after that, we did witness Mali experiencing um, kind of flavor of communism
Uh-huh.
under, if I'm not mistaken, was it Amadou? In the Independence Day, the leader who took
Modibo Keita.
Modibo Keita,
Modibo
and
Keita.
after that, we witnessed a coup d'etat,
Yeah.
and the military took power, and through that transition, Mali was cited as an example of democracy at a certain point. And now today we're coming back to a military regime. What is your perspective um, on those phenomena that Mali experienced? And how can you fit those experience into your book?
Okay, great. That's very interesting because one of those things really, I mean, all of those that background helped me a lot really to be what I am today. Really that really shape my my work and my thinking and whatever I do I mean in academia. Yeah, Mali, like we said, the history like a different empire like succeeded like in Mali, different the empire of Mali, Ghana, the Songhai. We have the Fulanese kingdom, the Bamana kingdom, all of those things. So, like so many that came after and over. Like they had a wonderful time during those their reign in that part of the continent. And you know what? No power can can remain forever. You have to disappear one day. Anyway, okay, so yeah, those power disappeared, and then the French happened to come and control that territory called today Mali, which was Mali. They call it Sudan.
Yeah.
French Sudan. And then, but what we call Mali, that's bigger than the Mali today. But even though Mali today was the Mali before, but it was, the smaller version of the Mali of yesterday. Yeah, but the French experience really, was not that. I mean, I don't know if Malin can call that a good experience. I kind of have a mixed feeling when I talk about the French experience in Mali. Even though the French themselves they know they didn't have an easy time in Mali, or even conquer Mali been really difficult with the French. Even like bringing the Christianity in Mali. But like we know that time when they were coming, the Bamana were like in the power, and they resist a lot to the Christianity because based on certain value. Even though Islam came before that, preceded Christianity, and then later on Christianity came and was very flexible. But Bamana was still skeptical about that new religion that was really so flexible because they know there was a catch. Something too flexible is there is a catch to it. But they say Islam came, we didn't want it. It's so rigid, we don't want it. But Christianity came, it's so flexible. So there's something not clear about this religion because too flexible. So they say, okay, we prefer like a go to Islam because that's rigid. That might have something that's we can trust. But there's one that's too flexible. There's a catch we cannot understand. We don't want that. So you see all of those things. If you look at it so anybody from Mali, so you can, if you understand a little bit of Malian history, you can, relate that person to one part of those empire or those kingdom or one part of the value or another part of the value. It's like a what do we call a mixture of like a different, like a rich culture and value coming together. Yeah, all those are blended in one melting pot. But when the French came, trying to, I mean, if you want to control anyway, you don't want the order. If there's the order, so then people just will connect to the order, and then they'll give it, I mean, a hard time. So if you want to control, then you have to, I mean, destroy that. Just destroy that, and to put everything upside down, and people don't even know where to go. And the only salvation they get, it's you to help them get what they want and get to go where they want to go to, and things like that. So that was the French policy, just to come and just, I mean, put like a mess everywhere. The the educated people had to go to, I mean, to prison. All of the scholars in Mali, all of them were sent to prison because the French didn't want them, because we brought our own language. We want you to learn our language. We want to go to our school. We don't want those Arabic schools to send out your children there. Then that'll be a problem. There'll be a competition between the two. I mean, the values. So then we need to get rid of one, and that's the reason why the intellectual will like put aside, or I mean, jail. And then that was what happened for most of them. And then what's going to happen with the French? Still, people like resisted. People didn't want to send their I mean, the children to school. Even mom didn't really go to school because they say the French school were not for Muslim. Now it didn't mean for to I mean to be a good place for a Muslim child to go there, because it's gonna destroy their value, their culture. So we don't want to send our children to such a school, and that was one of the problems. And then for that reason, she didn't really even finish the first grade. She had to drop off school, so that was a problem. So that remained for a long time. Even today in Mali, you will find some family that still don't want to send their children to French schools, because they prefer to send them to Arabic school for religious purposes and stuff like that. But I mean, slowly people trying to understand that. So I mean, it's not gonna change anything if you send your child to a French school, but make sure that you send the child also to Arabic school to have like the the Islamic perspective, or whatever you are learning from like the French school or from the modern school, because school existed before anyway. Okay, that's one of the things. So I mean, to look at those connections to what I'm doing today and my books, because when you look at all the time, I refer to the way the leadership, how leadership was organized, handled by, I mean, different powers like in the Mali Empire. So I try to bring that, I mean, forward, and trying to, I mean, combine with the Western model, try to mix them and see how the two can work together and be implemented in our societies. But it's not only in Mali, but in any society in the world, because most of the time I saw that the leadership problem is the same thing everywhere. But there are certain things only that might change. That can be power or value or culture or religion. So those are the true things that can bring, I mean, a change in the type of leadership display, I mean, in a given area or in a given society.
I learned that often authors are influenced by their society
Hmm.
and by their culture and history. I
Yeah.
just want you to take us back a little bit in Mali.
Uh-huh.
When were you born, and how long do you stayed in Mali before you come to United States? And final,
Hmm.
uh, what was the how those different regime in the time you were in Mali affect you and affect your writings?
Okay, so but okay, it's talking a Malian perspective. I was born, I mean, after the first military coup in Mali, because
Of Musa Traore?
no, the first military coup in Mali, that was Musa Traore's, yeah, Musa
Yeah.
Traore's a military coup.
Yeah.
So, our birth is always a link to a social event. So you can now have a birth certificate, but you can tell the social events what happened when you were born. So anybody can trace. Okay,
So were
and
you
tell
born during the coup or after the coup or
after the coup,
after the coup?
before the
Okay.
first,
So
after the
is
first
the
coup.
way we can trace your birth.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So then, I mean, my knowledge about the first regime in Mali is little. My knowledge is from my parents, friends, family, books, yeah, and the traditional gatekeepers, what we call jellies.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, exactly. So it's all of those. I mean, I, I understand. Look at them like my source of inspiration. All of those inspire me. Okay, educate me and guide me. To take a path that I'm on today. Yeah. So, and I want you to continue on that path. Okay. So that helped me to understand a little bit that, I mean, uh, to look at Africa today, Mali, mainly Mali today, the Mali during the time, my parents and I learned in the society in the books, that's what happened during Modibo Keita time. And before that, during the French time and Modibo's time, and then be it during Musa's regime, I say, what's going on? Because I'm seeing a different period and the different leaders, and what happened is like it going up and down. Yeah, because during the French time, it was not like that glittery at all. It was not that beautiful at all. So then we come to Modibo's time. We are free now, so but we're not free because still the oppressor is still going around because it still needs the natural resources, still want to have influences, still need markets, still need things. Yeah, because that's the reason why the oppressor was there in the first place. Because why do you want to go to a place if you don't have interest there? You got because when you leave, you cannot leave because the interest is over. It's still there, but you've been pushed out. So the interest is still there, but you don't want to go. You still want to have some kind of influence over that area. So then we had the independence, but not really independence because it was like a condition to a lot of things. And then things was like kind of a little, little bright, but not too bright because the regime stayed in power for like 8 years. And then after that, we have the military regime, and the military regime was the time really I was in a high school. That's what I could tell a lot of things, and things were really difficult during the military regime. People could spend like a month and month without receiving their salary. So certain profession you didn't even wish people were not wishing that to their worst enemy to really to to go to that field. They don't want you to go to that field. Like for example, to become a teacher, nobody wants his child to go to school just to learn to become a teacher because you will not be able to feed your family. So things like that. So things were really difficult. So then, if you understand, you look at that time. Why is so difficult? Why is so difficult? Okay, is it because the country is poor, or is it because people are not working? Is it because the leadership is not right, or it's because the relationship with the world, the outside world is not clear, or what's going on? So one we need to try to understand because this was not the Malian society that been presented to me. It's not like this. That was not like this. People were not that starving like this. this hardship was a little too much. And that helped me just to trying to compare the different time and try to make sense. So all of this, if looking at all of the things, what comes to mind or what I see all the time, it's a leadership, the type of leadership that's displayed here in the society on the political scene.
So, at
Yeah.
certain point, we have
Uh-huh.
Musa Traore, who was the military leader,
Uh-huh.
and you were born under his his regime, as you testify that things were not going well.
Mm-hmm.
And at certain point, the people of Mali rise up, they and went to the street, and eventually he was overthrown. Were you in the street, or where were you at that moment?
Interesting question because that time I was in I'm in high school. I was in high school, and then yes, because it was like what we call the student movement. Because that was like after the French conference, what they call the ball, one of the, I mean, area in France there, Mitterrand, the former president of France, uh, invited all of the president from French-speaking Africa. Then, in order for us to work together, now you need to espouse democracy. Yeah, so it's not like it by choice, but you have to. And then, yeah, you need that why they start talking about a multi-party democratic system. Yeah, everywhere. And then I'm at school with like a good place really to sell this new ideology or new political ideology to people. And then, I was everywhere. Students were like really espousing that idea. Okay, let's go. Let's, have a new political party. Let's have a new president. This one is not the one. Things like that. But some president resisted, like Musa Traore didn't want to go right way, trying just to have some kind of negotiation. I mean, and trying to see what to do and trying to see the pros and the cons. I mean, trying to usher to democracy. But at that time, Western world didn't want that. Just go. That was the only idea. So don't consult anybody. Don't have any conferences. Don't have any meeting. Just go ahead. Just organize and let people be free. Let them. Organize. Have their own political parties and let them compete to be. Whoever is like. It's like he can be the president and lead the country. But nobody was prepared. People were not prepared. No, you can go. It's the fine. So what do you need? You need money. We give you money, and then to go ahead and start a democracy. And you see, democracy has create a lot of chaos in Africa. A lot of chaos. But anyway, I was on the street with that. Believing that the democracy was going to really put an end to all other hardship in the country. Yeah, so everybody thought that way. But yeah, things have changed. People could, express themselves, but that's not enough. Expressing oneself is not enough. But you want to be able to feed yourself. You want to be able to clothe yourself. You want to be able to find a job. So things like that. So those or none of those were guaranteed. So and then yeah, and we found ourselves where we are today because of like the types of leadership they put in place, and the leadership could only give promises to people but could not deliver those promises.
So
Yeah.
basically, what you're saying, despite
Mm-hmm.
the revolution
Mm-hmm.
that the Malian people led in the time of Musa Traore was successful, and you did adopt a democratic process because Mali was always cited as an example of democracy. Despite there were politically there was a democratic system, what you're saying that thing didn't affect the people lives, uh, uh, can permit people to take advantages of. There was not a economical progress, despite
Yeah.
there was a end that thing did tarnish the democratic process. So, do you think
Mhm.
the coup d'etat that we're witnessing today is justified? And if it's yes, why? And if it's no, your thought on it?
Can you, say the question again? Do I think
The
that?
thing is, what
Mhm.
I'm getting from
Mhm.
your thinking is, of course, we did in Mali have a certain point a democracy, but the
Mhm.
democracy didn't brought fruit in the
Mhm.
economical level.
Mhm.
Therefore, people were not happy with the democratic process.
Yeah.
And today we have a military regime in
Yeah.
place.
Mhm.
Therefore, do you think the coup d'etat, the military regime
Mhm.
um, being in place is kind of
Mhm.
justified?
Okay, interesting. So, I will take you back a little bit because, like, talk about democracy first, because democracy in its own word is a really beautiful thing. So, but democracy in Africa, people like really define democracy according to election. Election, that's the only thing about democracy. But democracy go beyond that because it's not like a people we want to elect the people. It's not we want to elect anybody. We want to elect the people who are qualified to do the job. But African, a democracy is only just we need. You guys to go vote and bring somebody forward. To lead the country. It doesn't matter whatever the person is doing. You got. We organize election and that's it. And then we have somebody, and then we don't care whoever it is. So then that's what brought Mali to this position, this situation, this place today. Same thing in Burkina Faso, everywhere. And the same problem exists everywhere in Africa. Can't you see today? Also, certain countries, they just want to change the constitution because they want to run again. So they say, okay, the constitution said that you can only have only two terms in office or three terms in office. But sometimes they want to change the constitution and they want to have more term in the office because that the system, because like the democratic system is not this something that's been really well explained to people, or people now well trained really, or they don't have a constitution, a strong constitution that can really avoid those kind of irregularities or kind of like a power hijacking in our society. So, but it's because of those, thing we call democracy, like election, and bringing like the wrong person to do the wrong thing, and then that's what led to the different coups in Africa. In Mali, we had the coup. It's of course in Guinea, same thing, the coup, because and it has failed in certain countries because they would attempt a coup in so many countries, but some in some countries they failed. Okay, Burkina Faso, Niger. You cannot even say it's finished. Look, even in Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa, how did he get power? It's through the military coup. So because like when people are in power, most of the time we only consider democracy being the solution because we elected somebody. Yeah, of course we elected somebody, but how did we elect that person? Who is that person? Okay, okay, where's the loyalty of the the leader? Because most of the time the leaders, like you elect somebody, but he's not loyal to their own people. He's loyal to outside forces, or it might be loyal to a small group, while you are elected for the whole country. So you see the problem in a democratic system in Africa. So that's what always leads to this situation. In Mali, coup is it was like a civilian coup, but it has been really Civilians have been helped by the military because the civilian want the president to leave the power because they don't have like a weapon to go and get rid of him. Or if they had to go there, the military there, they could not remove him from power because they didn't want him because he could not deliver anything. So
Uh,
that was the consequence of democracy. Uh huh.
the my perspective
Mm-hmm.
on that is like the democratic process is a learning experience.
Yep.
I acknowledge your idea on tackling leadership. I feel
Mm.
like uh, we have to work the grassroots, but we have to also have good leaders. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And
Oh,
in
of course.
Africa,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like democracy is not only we should not go only organize elections.
Uh huh.
We should go to the low level, even in
Yeah.
the political parties. We
Uh
should
huh.
implement the idea of democracy because sometimes we have those leaders that are there. Nobody vote them out in the political level, in the party
Mm-hmm.
level. So that kind of a sign that the democracy is not quite working properly. But I am saying that I think the democratic system should be the system we should adopt.
Okay, so it should not be like a
And
jacket we want to make people wear. Democracy, if people want democracy, okay, let them have democracy. If they don't want to have democracy, let them not have democracy. But what should be our responsibility is now working with people who don't espouse democratic ideology.
to that,
Yeah.
we coming to the end of
Uh-huh.
our session. I would like to continue the
Mm.
discussion in the near future.